I'll start it up. My name's Yoni Sifkin, political science major here at UMass Lowell. Kind of in my senior year, not really sure about that. It's going. In the Marine Corps Reserve as well. I was a senior field organizer for Rick Green for Congress campaign. He ran a congressional campaign here in the 3rd District.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Justin St. Louis. Also had the opportunity over the past year to work in the Rick Green congressional campaign as the deputy political director. Also had the opportunity to work on a state rep race in Haverhill this past year, and then the U.S. Senate race in New Hampshire in 2016.
I'm Emily Wernack. I'm a sophomore. I major in political science and peace and conflict studies, and I minor in public health. And over the summer, I worked on a state Senate campaign.
Cool. So essentially what we're going to talk to you guys about today is based on what we learned from our experience both in interning and working in government and also working on political campaigns, sort of a gap that we recognized in voter education and an opportunity that we saw to kind of fill that gap.
So America has a bit of a problem. In general, we're not very politically engaged. The statistic did not make it up to my slide, but only approximately 50% of eligible voters actually voted in the 2016 presidential election, even though it got a lot of national attention. It was a very high-stakes election. And according to Pew Research, 57% of all Americans who use social media do not trust social media for reliable political news. And a problem we noticed is that there's really a lack of a simple way to be educated on political campaigns in the current state of American politics. Whether you tune into CNN, Fox News, MSNBC, there's a quick flash of the actual news, and immediately multiple political experts tend to jump into their opinions. And in a lot of cases, if you are political junkies like we are, it's a little bit hard to understand what people are trying to get at. In addition, political advertising tends to only reach certain target groups. For example, in the state Senate campaign I worked on over the summer, even though we would have loved to reach out to every eligible voter in the district, we didn't necessarily have the time, money, and resources to actually do that. So we tend to only reach out to the most active voters that we can afford to reach out to. In addition, also according to Pew, only 42% of voters nationwide identify as independents. So there's a large chunk of the population that isn't necessarily being involved in primary elections, because in primary elections, Republicans and Democrats tend to lean towards contacting the most active, more passionate, I guess we can say, voters, or more extreme left and right. So overall, political advertising can be a little overwhelming. For example, in Lowell, this past election cycle, there were 11 Democrats running for Congress and 5 state Senate candidates. So in general, people who we call super voters, who vote in almost every election, were getting tons and tons of campaign literature. People were constantly knocking on their doors. And at least in my experience, I noticed the past couple of weeks that we were on the campaign trail, people were no longer answering their doors because they were so sick of hearing from everyone. On the flip side, people who are active voters and who want to get involved in politics don't necessarily get that same campaign outreach, and therefore they're not getting the same campaign contact and the same information that currently active voters are. So the problem is there's a big gap that needs to be bridged between people who are active voters and people who aren't.
And recognizing that the majority of these super voters are among the older population, and that the largest population that does not actively vote are millennials and the new younger Gen X generation. So one way that we identify to sort of bridge that gap is essentially bringing democracy to your fingertips by creating a mobile app that would essentially be a very, very comprehensive database of every election and every candidate, from city council to president of the United States, and giving you the chance to really run through from an objective standpoint where they stand on the issues that are important to you. It would provide the opportunity to sort of compare an issue and the candidates and where they stand on that issue. Maybe look at an issue and look at all the different candidates in your party or not. Another reason, to sort of jump on Emily's point a little bit, that this is really important is particularly with primaries in closed state primaries in Massachusetts, where if you're an independent, you have to pull either a Republican or a Democratic ballot. It's important, because a lot of people don't decide until they actually arrive at the ballot box who they're going to vote for, that we give people the opportunity to really, objectively weigh the pros and cons, from the comfort of their living room or the comfort of their car before they jump into the school to go cast their ballot, and without the noise of political advertising or phone calls or door knocking that tends to get extremely overwhelming, and as the election moves closer, a lot of people tend to ignore. So to talk more about the technical side of how it's going to work, it's going to pass things to County.
So essentially, you're going to take your phone, you're going to have the app, you're going to plug your zip code in, and what that's going to bring you, it's going to bring you to a list of elections that are happening in your area. Whether it's a state senate election, if it's a congressional election, a federal, any type of election that's going on, you'll be able to see it, click on it, and then you'll get a list of the candidates running if it's a primary, or if it's a general election, each side of it. You also get a list of issues that we've identified as important to that area, along with each candidate's stance on them. So instead of having to search the websites or looking through the different candidates' campaign literature, right then and there you have the most important issues in that area with the answers of, with the views of each candidate right next to it. So there's also a great potential here, and that potential is to create a polling mechanism, yeah. So you'd be able to, create an account and then sort of poll who you think you're going to vote for. You've looked at the information, you decide, I think I'm going to vote for this person. And then, that's going to bring me into the next slide, which is the end goal. So we want to make money off of this, of course. Not only can we make money from the polling, because the polls that you see on CNN and everywhere, and Professor Talty has some experience with this, they cost a lot of money because you have to generally call people and everything. So this is cutting costs on that, and then so we're going to be able to bring efficient polling results to campaigns, along with once we create a base of people, we'll be able to send advertising. So sort of how we're going to do that is by 2020, we want to make a pilot program for the state of Massachusetts and maybe New Hampshire, where we're going to have the 2020 elections on there. We're going to have the proof of concept showing that how many people are going to use this, because most people, the average user doesn't really know who they're going to vote for. They want a quick synopsis of the stances, and they want to be able to find unbiased sources on who they want to choose who they want to vote for.
And to use as sort of a model, we recognize that there are already some groups that do this on a local scale. There's an organization called Lowell Votes, I believe, that did this in the past election. It was a comprehensive catalog that really did something similar to this in a PDF format. We believe that sort of extrapolating that model to a mobile app, make it more accessible, make it faster and more efficient for folks to access, and having a more comprehensive database would certainly be helpful. So we definitely want to use that as an example, and we really wanted to have sort of a demo to bring today, but unfortunately it was a little bit involved. We do have some computer science friends that are willing to lend us a hand, and would love to show a proof of concept at a later date if that's possible. So,
to close out real quick, this isn't about helping one party or not. This is about helping democracy. If we can get more voters informed with non-biased sources, so they're able to make their own decisions, we're winning. That's obviously the end goal. And once people recognize that, once people, everybody has been hearing the fake news or the fact that, they don't think something's being interpreted properly in the news. Everybody's kind of sick of that. So once we're able to prove to them that we're providing them the resources so they can make their own decision, not somebody on CNN or Fox News' decision, they'll be happy to use the product, and we'll be helping democracy move forward, regardless of the outcome. Some of us have different political opinions. We don't really care about that. We want to help, democracy function properly.
Thank you for your time. Happy to take questions.
So what would it cost to develop this whole program to get the app off the ground?
So for the technical side, we end up partnering. We have a couple options people that we want to get involved with and be able to make it. The next part would just be getting the research. You just have to reach out. It's very simple to reach out to candidates and ask them, find out these questions, and then get the answers from the candidates themselves. So that just be data input on our end.
And there are certainly, you know, costs associated with getting things on the Google Play Store or on the App Store. I mean, to be honest with you, I don't know what the exact cost is with, you know, with that before. You know, that would certainly be something that we'd have to consider when, you know, preparing to launch.
Another thing that would help cut costs is this is a great research opportunity for schools to lend interns to us. We could have UMass Lowell interns, for example, help us out with Massachusetts, getting this research done. After we get the research done, it's just that input into the app, so it's able to function properly. Lower cost on the research end, and then get the advertising that we need. You know, you guys are probably, you guys are better with advertising than us. We'd love to learn a little bit about how we implement the advertising. But that would be probably the main way to monetize for us. So.
Just an opinion. If someone asks you a question about a cost, you should definitely have a dollar sign in your answer. How would your platform or app be different than, say, headcount or on the issues? So I would go now to ontheissues.org, and it has issues listed out, and I can scroll through and get a pretty good sense of what the issues are, and where folks stand on each issue. Is it something that you would draw data from, or would you compete against them?
Is that for every candidate from like local office, state office, and federal office? Like even if someone is running for city council or school board or
I
something
didn't
like
look
that?
at I looked at like the Congress issue level,
Okay.
but I didn't. So I don't know if it's at the locus. Maybe that's a differentiator.
Yes, we do want to be able to get more local elections as well, since they're typically not as glamorous as a congressional race or a Senate race. And another thing too is, for example, like the lowell votes example we found, it was very wordy. So our goal is to try to keep information as concise as possible.
To add on to that, the organization you talked about, it's a not-for-profit. It's not super easy to go on there and find out exactly who's running in your race. You know, our idea of just typing in your zip code and then immediately finding what elections are happening, picking the election you want to learn about, and then immediately having just right there the candidates and stations. It's a quick sort of way to do it.
One thing to consider in you're right now talking about an app, and so an app by definition has a step, right? So there's a barrier to entry, and then I have to go log in and I have to download the app. And so in your write-up, you had indicated that there could be word of mouth and sharing of this tool. So you may consider starting off with like a responsive website, and that's something that's easily shared, something that you can just have a straight link. So if I'm on social media and I share it, he looks at it, he can click on the link and then look right at the app. So think about how to reduce the steps between someone being exposed to your platform and then to actually engaging in it. And an app's going to cause me to log in, and maybe I forgot my password, and so for an Apple store, and I'm just going to go do something else. So and it's a lot
We
cheaper.
appreciate the recommendation.
And it's a lot less expensive to build a responsive website than it is an app.
I think it's the one other concern I would have is just ensuring that it is truly bipartisan. Because I think that obviously politics are so polarized right now. I mean, it could be more polarized. So you just have to make sure that it's there's no perception that you're leaning one way or the other. Otherwise, it's not going to be looked at as a real alternative.
That's something we actually considered, and we were discussing how we're going to monetize it. Obviously, of course, we first thought, oh, political advertising. But that automatically makes us susceptible to becoming sort of partisan, leaning left or right. We want to sort of stay away from political advertising. Just make sure we can show any company that we have the we have the people on it. Or of course, if we do that, we can show companies that we have users, and they'll be able to advertise non-politically related material on it. We want to stay away from that. We want to find out the questions and then directly, contact candidates and ask them to answer those questions for us. In our experience, candidates have been pretty open to, answering these questions. It's another way for them to get their, message out. So.
In terms of this question doesn't have a dollar sign, but in terms of potential revenue for a general political site like CNN, they'll earn like $10 or $15, it's called CPM, like cost per 1,000 impressions. So if you think about if your site or your app is, let's call it a site, if your site is successful and you have 100,000 impressions, it's not an enormous amount of money, right? Like you wouldn't pay one of your salaries. And that would be a lot of traffic, like a lot of impressions. And so you may want to consider going, starting off by going the grant route or seeing if you can, you talked about a survey, but it could be a bias sample set because people that go there are skewed in a certain way. But if you could get past that, you may be able to fund yourself quicker or in a quicker fashion than going the advertising route because you have to generate millions of impressions in order to pay the rent.
Good to know.
I think one thing we do have on our side eventually, you know, if we do, there's 200 million registered voters in America. So that number right there is that's what made it attractive to us. There's just so many people, and almost everybody I talk to that's not as, you know, happy about politics as me, says, you know, they'd be interested in using something like that. They don't want to read CNN and get their opinion. Because at the end of it, it's just it's an opinion outlet, not news. You're unbiased news outlet. So that's why we